and welcome to the Fantasy News Show from the Bottled Imp. My name is Ken Boyter, and this is your weekly fix of fantasy goodness. On this week's show, the spirits are coming to Britain. And when I say Britain, I mean Brighton. I've misread my first little word there. Hurrah! It's too early in the morning for this. Second up is World Fantasy Con takes a flight of fantasy. And Dr. Ripper fabricates some freaks. There's a tongue twister. But first, the HBO show Game of Thrones wins Best Drama again and breaks an Emmy record. Yes, based on George R.R. Martin's book series The Song of Ice and Fire, the sixth series of the TV show has won 12 Emmy Awards at the annual ceremony. And that takes the show's total to 38, which breaks the previous record, which was held by the comedy Frasier. A few of the categories that Game of Thrones have won were Best Outstanding Drama, Best Outstanding Director for a Drama Series, and Best Outstanding Writing for a Drama Series. And it's really good to see that a fantasy show has kind of broken into the mainstream, haven't they? Most people have heard of Game of Thrones, if not, if they haven't watched it. And so it's kind of getting on par now with Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, which is great for the genre. So hurrah! And you can read the full list of the winners by visiting the Emmys website, which is, as you probably imagine, emmys.com, and we'll be putting all the links into the description. Live Ghost Hunt Brighton is an evening of, yes, you've guessed it, ghost hunting. Metaphysical examiner Adrian J. Andrews, who is also the host of Creepy TV's Dead But Not Forgotten, leads the investigation with his variety of specialist equipment. Now, a couple of things here. Metaphysical examiner, I have no idea what that is. I guess it's like a doctor, but for the spirits, an examiner? I don't know, or maybe he tests them. But I've never heard that expression before, but then maybe that's just my ignorance. And specialist equipment, I think I've seen those little voice boxes that you can kind of turn on. They tune into various frequencies and skip through the sort of radio waves. And then you're meant to pick up the spirit voices. That's very fascinating. So if you do go along, hopefully that will work. Also on hand to guide the audience are mediums Sasha Cooper and Amy Morris, who will be interviewed beforehand. I guess they'll be talking about the spirits and how they can communicate and their experiences of being mediums, before everybody's going to be led into the main part of the building to experience the actual ghost hunting or the spirit communication that do reside in the property. Apparently it is one of the most haunted properties in Brighton. And as far as I can tell, this is a serious attempt to communicate with the ghosts. This isn't necessarily, let's just do it for thrills. I don't think they're going to be doing any surprise jumping out. I don't think it's that kind of experience. I think it is a genuine attempt to actually communicate with the spirits. And apparently Brighton is the second most haunted city in England, and York being the first most haunted. And I'm going to quote from their website, actually. It says, "Not for the faint-hearted. Anything can happen throughout the evening and probably will." Who knows? Sometimes ghosts can be a bit shy. It all takes place at the Synergy Centre on West Street in Brighton, England, on the 29th of September at 8 p.m. to midnight, and tickets are £25. And you can find out more details on their Facebook page. Search for Live Ghost Hunt Brighton. BristolCon is a one-day convention to support and promote speculative, sci-fi and fantasy fiction writing, art and related activities in southwest of England. I'm not quite sure what the related activities are. Who knows? It's in its 8th year, and it features panel discussions and lectures, an art show and small group sessions including, here we go, Kaffeeklachslush and workshops. Now apparently a Kaffeeklachslush is a Dutch word that basically means a coffee and chat. Who knows? Obviously it's probably pronounced completely differently. A dealer's room will be selling books and comics and merchandise as well, plus authors will be available for signings. And there's also a games room and a brick out space, which is a cafe style area where you can play Lego. Yay! All the fun of the fair. Plus there's going to be a variety of entertainment as well in the evening. Guests of honour are the artist Fangorn and the authors Ken I can't pronounce this one either. Ken McLeod, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Sarah Pinborough. Plus, there's going to be lots of other special guests. There's too many to mention. There's a big list on their website, so you can see that if you go to their website. All the fun takes place on the 29th of October, which is a Saturday, at the Doubletree Hotel in Bristol. Tickets are £25 in advance or £30 on the door. And you can visit their website to find out more on how to book your tickets if you go to bristolcon.org. World Fantasy Con 2016 is taking place in Columbus, Ohio, which is obviously in the US of A, with the theme of Flights of Fantasy. The event is organised by the Science Orientated Literature, Art and Education Foundation, which sounds very serious, with the purpose of holding events that advance science-orientated literature, arts and education. So, with that in mind, I'm not quite sure why they're doing fantasy, but I guess it ties in somewhere. Activities include a dealer's room, an art show, a banquet, various panels and seminars, and the announcements of the 2016 World Fantasy Awards. Plus, there's going to be various guests of honour. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't find their website terribly informative. I had to struggle to get this information. It could do with a bit of a redesign. It wasn't very user friendly. So if you do want to go onto their website, stick with it. If you click on enough tabs, you will find the information. The convention does take place over 4 days on the 27th to 30th of October at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Columbus, and their website is worldfantasy2016.org. The Vanquishing of the Witch Baba Yaga, love that title, is a documentary directed by Jessica Oreck and is part of a meditative nature film, part urban observational and part fairy tale. Following fairy tales and personal memories, the film descends into Eastern Europe's haunted woodlands to uncover secrets and bloody histories that shape the understanding of man's place in nature. As you can guess, I didn't write that bit. That was what I found on their website. It isn't your standard film, basically. It does seem, and I guess that was why it was intriguing to me, because it doesn't follow a normal kind of narrative, storytelling narrative. It does seem to just take you on a kind of weird trip. I've only watched the trailer, and I did try to find out more information from other websites. One of the websites I did find out that covered it, but a while back actually. So I think this film has been made quite a few years ago, but it's kind of now surfacing. I guess like a lot of independent films. There's a website called Slant Magazine, which is slantmagazine.com, and that's where I read they did kind of a review of it, and it did really look intriguing. As far as I can tell, it's very, very, very limited screenings, and the next one is going to be at the Kino Culture Cinema in Osprey, Shropshire in England on 14th of December. Now, I know this is very, very obscure, but I just want to bring this to you because this isn't a typical fantasy film. It does delve into kind of, I think, the relationship of fairy tales and folklore stories and how it kind of influences our culture today. And I think it does that whole kind of spanning the generations. So that, it just seems a really intriguing fantasy project. So I'm hoping it's going to come out on DVD because I'll be interested to see this one. You can visit their website, which is thevanquishing.com. The illustrated version of A Game of Thrones is to be released on the 18th of October, published in celebration of the 20th anniversary of George R. R. Martin's amazing novels. This is a special edition of Game of Thrones featuring full-page artwork and as well as black and white illustrations in every chapter. The story is obviously going to be the same, but with these added illustrations, and it's going to be in hardback, and it's going to be over 850 pages. This should be, the luxury edition that if you're a massive Game of Thrones fans, you're absolutely going to love. There isn't much details out there on the internet just yet, or images from the books. I want to see a bit more of the illustrations, but from what I have seen, it does look really, really cool. Obviously, it's going to be out in bookshops, so you can make your mind up then, maybe have a look then to see if this is the one for you. You can read all about it, or as much as they're actually going to tell us about it, at penguinrandomhouse.com. Kickstarter news, and I knew I'd pronounce this one wrong as well. Trudvang Chronicles by RiotMinds is an award-winning tabletop RPG and is being released in English for the first time. Now, RiotMinds is based in Sweden, so they must have had really good success with this, because now they're going to be translating it into English to release upon the English-speaking world. This is actually based on the Norse and Celtic myths and sagas, things like Beowulf, the epic poetry Kalevala, and the fantastic artwork of Scandinavian artist John Bayer are the inspirations for the game. So that kind of puts it in context where they're coming from. The feel of the RPG is it's really grim and dark and down to earth and gritty, and it's got apparently a melancholic tone of an ancient world, where nature is part of the living world, and it's sort of almost a separate creature in itself, and magic is everywhere, and it's wild and strong. And I mean, the illustrations look absolutely fantastic. The whole way that the Kickstarter campaign has been put together really, really, enticed me into this one. For $70 or €65 or 600 Swedish krona, or even £53.46. Yes, I did the conversion. You can get the full package, which is 3 core rule books, the Wild Heart Adventure book, so I'm assuming that's book 1, access to the Riot Online, which will give you more details about it all, and all accomplished stretch goals. So that's not bad for what you actually get. There's also a PDF version, pledge level 2, if you just want to print it out yourself, but I would imagine these books are quite thick. And the artwork, as I say, looks absolutely amazing. It really is the sort of fantasy that I really, really love. They've got loads of information about the game system and how you actually play it, and actually loads of detail about the world and the mythology of the world. This does look quite a special Kickstarter campaign. It's already funded, and I'm not surprised, and that finishes on the 2nd of October. Fateful Told is a tarot-inspired strategy game for 2 to 6 players by Nicholas Fair. As well as a team of people as well, artists and game developers. The aim of the game is for players to race against one another to take control of fate itself. Not a small thing then, is it? Players must assemble the right group of cards to master fate. There are 66 unique cards, each with custom artwork, and each has a lasting effect on how the game is played. There are various pledge levels with different rewards, including digital wallpaper featuring the artwork. There's a digital art workbook featuring over 600 pages of art from the game. So that's, not 600, 60 pages. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the artwork. Various sets of prints from the game as well. And there's even a soundtrack to the game, which is, I think, pretty cool. The artwork, this one looks stunning as well. I really personally like tarot cards. I've always been fascinated with them, and I believe they were originally used as a kind of game anyway. So this is quite cool. They bring it back into, say, a modern realm of game playing. It is funded. It's nearly funded. So by the time this goes out, it may well be funded, and it finishes on the 1st of October. Fantastical Colouring Book number 2 is a fancy colouring book by Jessica Oreck with 70 different pictures to colour. So if you like colouring, you've got a lot of pictures here that will fill your time. This colouring craze does seem to be continuing, which is cool. The book is 8 by 10 inches and it's 150 pages, and it features artwork that ranges from simple to highly detailed pictures. So obviously it's got a range of, I guess, for people who aren't brilliant at colouring, or maybe children, but then children are brilliant at colouring, so maybe they'll go for the detailed stuff. So it's kind of trying to encompass everybody that is into colouring. The pictures are printed on bright white thick paper, and one side only, which is really cool, and you can use crayons, coloured pencils or markers, so they're quite confident that the paper will be thick enough. And the book does include griffins, mermaids, clockwork creatures, and of course dragons. We all love dragons. And there are various pledge levels, including a PDF version if you feel like printing it out yourself, original drawings, and you get the chance, if you want to also pledge for book 1 of this colouring series. These look great. I've seen some of the images. They do look really cool and a lot of fun. It's already funded and it finishes on the 23rd of October. Big breath there. The Bottled Imp news is that Dr. Ripper's Fabricated Freaks is a storybook for adults with a warped sense of humour, and it's written and illustrated by Bottled Imp illustrator Rich Nairn. Hurrah! Yes, Rich was inspired by illustrating my book, The Legends of Grimm's Iron Blood, earlier this year, And so he decided to pull his finger out and actually sit down and complete this. This project apparently has been on his mind. He's written these poems years ago. In fact, when I met him, he'd already written quite a lot of them, and he just never got around to finishing it. He has done so now. It's actually a collection of adult illustrated poems, and it's all kind of the creations of a madman called Dr. Ripper. So it sounds pretty fun. The book is packed with, they really are funny. He's got a really brilliant and warped sense of humour. The poems are very witty. Now, I've known Rich now for a good number of years, and I'm really pleased that he's managed to do this. It does look fantastic. It is out now in digital and on paperback. You can get it from Amazon, so search for Dr. Ripper's Fabricated Freaks. And I'm sure if you contact him, he doesn't know I'm going to say this, at theartfuldoodler.co.uk, he'll be able to sign you a copy, but I'm not sure, because I think Amazon are selling them directly. But anyway, I might have just dropped him in it. But check it out anyway. But that's all we have time for this week. Remember to watch our Friday fantasy show, where obviously it comes out every Friday, and we review lots of things, fantasy films, board games, books. Thank you so much for subscribing. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you for watching. We love you all. Remember to spread the word of the Bottled Imp, but remember to keep it unreal, especially if you're a fabricated freak.